Good morning, everyone. So, it's so easy to call people who are skeptics of climate alarmists, the doomsayers, the cap and traders, the crazy AOCs, and all the bullshit rhetoric about the horrible impact CO2 and climate change, and how we need to do what they say or we're all going to die. It was global warming. And then when those numbers, after being forged, have been... Look, you're not going to find it very easy because they don't want you to find it very easy. In order for the hockey stick, for the models, and this is what I fucking hate. I can do a climate model that says anything I fucking want. I can take an actual model that, if done right, might make good predictions. But when that model was created, the computer model that they thought would best predict climate, and they ran it, and I'm talking, this is 1980s, early 90s. They didn't get the results they wanted. So in order to get the results they wanted, they altered the temperatures of the 1930s. Basically lowering the temperatures, lowering the temperatures in the 30s, officially, because if you got climate rise like this, you got this side of depending on how you're looking at it. So if this is the timeline going from the past to the future, and you have temperature increase here, we have temperature increase. We're coming out of a ice age 12,000 years ago, which isn't much on the geological timeline. So we're coming out of an ice age, all right? And we're heading into the future, and we're now, like right here. And then you take that little spot and you spread that out. Okay. So we are going to have rise in temperature because we're coming out of an ice age that had nothing to do with man. All right. So they want to claim, because of the Industrial Revolution and all the stuff we're putting in, that there's a catastrophic increase in heat. That was the first global warming. But when they created those models and they put the numbers that we had, it wasn't giving them an increase that they wanted to see. They wanted to say, now, yes, it's 104 degrees, but that's not the point. The point is, that's way hotter than it should be if it wasn't for us. That's an increase of I think they want 2 or 3 Celsius, but they were only getting 1.5, which is still on the same linear as if we were coming out of an ice age. Nothing abnormal there, nothing that I would say we're doing something crazy to the environment. And since they didn't get the results they want, they took that climate model and they adjusted the 1930s heat and brought it down. All right? So this would, in that little, not the long section, but you had the ice age, and then you go into the future and you got a linear increase in, because we're coming out of an ice age, right? And then they take that little spot there, boop, and then they widen that out. So if you lower the temperature of the 30s, now you get a higher angle on that chart. And now you can say, oh, look, it's increasing more rapidly than it actually is. That's what they've done. If you're interested in that, talk to me, call me up, because I can show you how they did it. There's court documents. I've got lawsuits that say they lied in favor of the non-liars. Okay. So when that starts falling apart, they stop going global warming, and then they start talking a catastrophic wild weather. Like, because of climate change, things are going to get weird. So I haven't heard the term jet stream since they changed up their vocabulary, because that's what the leftists do. They fuck with language. So you think they're talking about one thing, and you get used to using it in a certain way, but they really mean something else. So now you're suddenly cheering for something. You think you're cheering for this, but you're really just cheering for globalism. So what do they call it? Ice rivers. Instead of jet streams, now they call them rivers. They're the same thing. They're trying. Oh, they're river. Yeah, they're the same thing. So today, why the Spokane ran low and what it means for the future. Now, they give a general description of why it ran low, which is fairly accurate. The summer was a stretch of Spokane River alarmingly low, even completely dry in some places, right? There are clear reasons behind this. They obscure the clear reasons, and they point to the wrong reasons. Aquifer, a two-part of the same system, consistently exchanging water. Yes. When you put water from the aquifer for our homes, farms, or businesses, it can reduce the amount of water feeding the river. Right? So, they say the problem, homes, farms, and businesses. But they don't expand on it in the proper way. Post Falls Dam. So, when the river needs connects most, the balance becomes fragile. Small changes in our pumping and the ground level can be big. So they kind of just generalize about homes, farms, and businesses. But then they go on to see this is how they deflect. Post Falls Dam all shape the river flow. There's only so much water to be shared between the lake, the river, and the communities. See, between the lake, the river, and the communities that depend on both. The lake and the river don't depend on it. It is what it is. It's not live. All right? Communities depend on it. Consistent with the license requirements in early August. So we had to do it. Post Falls Dam was reduced to just 500 CFS to maintain those recreational levels. So rich people can play in the water? Fuck. Okay, anyways. Climate change is reshaping the story in big ways. No, it's not. Winter bring less snow to the mountains, and the snow that does fall melts earlier. No, it's not. I can show you the fucking charts on that shit too. Imagine a healthy future which Pokemon means rethinking our relationship with water. Yes. So, but they're pointing at the wrong direction, so you don't really understand what's going on. Here's what's going on. Last year, 2023, 107% of medium snow runoff. It's not getting less. Here's the problem right here. 105.72, right? Population. In 1990, 361,000 Spokane County, 70,000 Kootenai County, for a total of 430,000. 430,000 was the population of the general area that uses the river and the lake and the aquifer. Today's population, 555 and 188. Notice how it won't give me a total, asshole? Here we go. Combined, both. 744. So where were we? Just because we were at 431,000, and now we're at 700. Almost a doubling. We have 75% more people using that water between public and industry and tourism. All right? So you got that many more people who are using it every day compared to the 1990s. They don't emphasize this because it takes away from their narrative of climate change. No. Population change. Population growth. We've got almost twice as many people here now. So wouldn't you expect that to greatly affect the amount of water, since twice as many people are using it compared to just 30 years ago? I'm not very, right? This is what I'm saying. I'm not a climate denier. I'm not saying we shouldn't keep water clean, air fresh, sludge out of the river, or radioactive out of the river, poisons out of the river. Yes, pesticides. We need to rethink a lot of this stuff. But the way they've blamed CO2 as if a single solution can be the answer to a multivariable problem such as climate has always been the lie. And they're not letting up. And here's my other problem. If you're misdiagnosing something as cancer when it's really like liver disease, and now you're going to put someone with liver disease into chemotherapy, it's probably not going to go well. I'm really more for the environment than these fuckers who believe this lie. I just want people to come to terms with population growth, bad management of forests. I want to help the environment. I want to stop the fires as best we can by controlled fires, by proper management. But instead, these people have been sold, and it's not their fault. They're teachers. These fucking lying scientists from the 1990s. They've been Pied Pipered into following off a cliff like lemmings. It's easier to dupe someone than it is to convince someone they've been duped.